Okay, I am on the Alpharetta bathroom. This project is somewhat large, and the reason I say that is because everything you see here in this bathroom is coming out. From the flooring to the shower to the vanities to the tub. I think the only thing that's being saved is possibly the lighting and the mirrors. I'm going to try and save the mirrors and do the best I can on them. Anyway, so let me start from the beginning. This is a 8x8 builder's grade ceramic tile that you know, it's pretty cheap. Builders aren't going to put a lot of money into the tile. This is 4x4 on the tub area, 4x4 going around on a little backsplash, and then of course 4x4 on the shower. So really no issues with the shower. This house is probably about, I think it's about 12, maybe 15 years old. Ceramic tile in a shower, I've gone over this on many videos, is never a good idea, and here is the reason why. Grout, you can only put non-sanded grout in these 4x4 tiles. So if I go up to the wall, and I've done this many times, you know, I kind of notch my fingernail inside the grout line, I can come out with the powder, and it doesn't matter how old the shower is, this grout is just very powdery and it's not really going to last. So if I look around, I'm seeing little areas where grout has popped out, and when grout starts popping out, you know, the only thing you can do is re-grout it, and you're kind of chasing your tail on that. In addition to the fact, and the vertical isn't too bad, but when you get to the horizontal areas, you know, settling, houses all settle and they all have movement of some sort. So you don't have good adhesion with non-sanded grout. So even though it was put in here, it's obviously popped out. The grout has popped out here. It looks like they've re-grouted. It's popped out here where they haven't re-grouted. And because of the settling, this grout easily moves. I can actually rub my hand across there. There's a lot of lippage on that tile. I don't know why builders don't slope their tile, but I see this end is a little higher than that end, so I imagine water pools up down in that corner a lot, which is why you got a lot of mold and mildew sitting back here behind this caulking. And this has been recaulked a couple of times. And you see all the mold and mildew that is built up there. And the main reason is because this is a level surface. The curb should be sloped inward, at least about, you know, 15-20 degree slope, if not more, so that water can, you know, naturally want to drain off. Builders don't do that, and therein lies the problem. So this cap's not even tied down. Look at that. Look at all that buildup. And I don't know if that's just calcium deposit from the water. I doubt it. Again, this is builder's grade type of tile, so therefore if the builders came in here and the tile guy kind of slopped his stuff around, this most likely is excess thin set and mortar and stuff like that got slopped in here as they were building the shower. So you have a very, very thin opening. These pipes are generally 2 inches in diameter, and you can see you're cut down to about maybe an inch if even that. So when I rebuild showers, one of the reasons I take out the P-trap is because inherently I'm always expecting that this buildup is in there, and I want a nice, free, clean shower drain. So that's why I changed out the P-trap. Look at this. This tile is just busted through the wall inside, and the lippage is crazy. I mean, the whole tile is sticking out on the end. So what happens is, I'm sure they didn't wrap the curb with their liner, and so what happens is water is getting up inside through all these cracks and crevices, especially through here, and it's rotting out the curb. So I anticipate when I do this tear out that I'm going to see a lot of wood rot on this curb at the very least, and at the very most I'm probably going to see some wood rot on this floor right outside here, which inherently is usually always the place where you're going to have rot. Knee walls generally always rot out too, and I've showed that on many videos because same reason. You have this grout that pops out, you have a knee wall that's not sloped inward, so you know, water is just naturally going to pool up on top of it and get in through the grout line and then saturate into the wood. You know, they're not going to do anything to waterproof the wood or waterproof under the tile. And so I anticipate when I take out all this tile that there will be some wood rot on this knee wall as well. That's just the nature of the beast when you have builder's grade crap, which is basically what it is. Anyway, so we're going to take all this shower stuff out and take all this flooring out and take these vanities out and take that vanity out as well. I'm going to be replacing this floor as well as rebuilding the shower. I'm also going to replace the vanity with a new one that the customer is buying, and I think the same footprint because there's going to be a drawer piece just like there is there. This one is pretty basic. I think this is about a 35, almost 36 inch opening. I think the customer bought a 30-inch vanity for here, so there'll be about 2.5 inches on both sides where we'll use a filler strip to take up the difference there. This is a jacuzzi tub, and I guess the old homeowners decided they wanted to feel rich, so they painted this gold. Yeah, this cushion has got painted gold too, but it's a bad paint job and it doesn't match anything else. But so the jacuzzi tub is coming out. The customer has purchased another one that is nearly identical to the same footprint we have here as far as width and dimensions and stuff like that. The only difference is I'm going to have to take out this wall because, or this side of the wall, the sheetrock in here, because it's sitting right on top of the lip of the tub. Same as over here, the same as on the two back ends. That little bumper part has to come out. So once the tub is out, I will reconfigure the plumbing. I think the new tub actually has the buttons, which right now currently are back there. The buttons are right here in the front. So inevitably the tub faucet is going to have to either be deck mounted, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to build out this deck enough to make that happen, or I think it's got a lip on both sides with the new tub, so I will end up putting the new fixture on either the left or the right side. So that'll be interesting. Usually jacuzzi tubs are there for the long run because, you know, people like them, but in this case, I guess there are some functional problems going on. Customer tells me it doesn't work. And then of course this faucet definitely doesn't work for what we're doing. Anyway, nothing else going on except in the toilet closet. We're going to change out the toilet. Of course retile this, put in a new baseboard after I'm done. An interesting thing here, there's really no closet space. There's no pantry, not pantry, but an area to put towels and toilet paper and stuff like that. So the customer had an idea, since there is, I don't know where the light switch is for this. Customer had an idea inside this toilet closet area. There's literally a bunch of wasted room that is not doing anything, and we're about an 8-foot ceiling here as opposed to the outside, which is vaulted. So because we have a definite 8-foot ceiling, he had an idea right here to put a wall up. So if you can imagine right where that tile line is at, there's going to be a wall sitting right here, and all this excess space is going to end up being a closet. So on this side over here, I don't know if we had discussed building this out from the top to make it square or not. I don't recall that. But regardless, this part of the wall will be opened up enough to have a small, maybe an 18-inch door or something like that, so that they can actually open the door and reach in there, and there's going to be shelves in there, probably 4 or 5 shelves that they can put towels and different stuff in there. So this eventually will be a linen closet for all intentional purposes, and it will take up this whole area here, which is probably a good decent 3 square feet that they're going to get out of this to have a closet. So that'll be interesting. So that's what's going on. The shower tile is going to be this 12 by 12 porcelain. It's a nice tile, same color through and through, as you can tell. And they have a matching bullnose, which is always good. You can see there's going to be a lot of bullnose on the edge of the tub. going around here with the backsplash, and then of course bullnose on the edge. Oh, we're gonna take a tile up to this door. Because we have a vaulted ceiling, I can't take it to the ceiling. So this is gonna be a stopping point. The tile is gonna go from here all the way across and follow that line and go down. So that bullnose will also facilitate the knee wall. There'll be bullnose on both the front and the inside. This is a 12 by 12, and on the floor it has a matching tile that's a 16 by 16. So the 16 by 16 will go on the floor. This will go on the shower walls. This will go on the shower floor, which is the same family, same design and all that stuff. It's a brick pattern and it's small spacing. It's an 1/8 of an inch, like exactly. Personally, I'm not really feeling it. I would like to see like a 4x4 in there. This is, relatively speaking, a small area to tile on the floor, so it's not that big of a deal, but I would still like to see a larger tile. I would actually like to see a larger shower. Where the door is right here, I'd like to see the curb come out this way and then just corner off this way, so that another 2 or 3 square feet of shower room gets involved, which won't take up from the room of the shower or the bathroom at all, because it's a relatively large bathroom. It would make a deeper shower by probably about 1.5 feet, and it would make a not necessarily a wider shower, but that depth really matters, because I could just imagine the curb going like this and like that and have a much bigger shower, but they declined on that, so it's going to be the same footprint. Anyway, so this is going to go on the shower floor. This is the mosaic that is going to be, I guess half of it is what the customer wants. I wouldn't go half, I'd probably go about 5 or 6 of these as a border, but he wants to do half. So we're going to do half of this as a border going around, probably right above the niche and on both walls. By the way, the niche is going to go on this back wall. So if you can imagine, it's going to be 12 inches by about 30 or so inches left to right. So there'll be a niche in there, there will be a border in there, and there will be bullnose, as I talked about. This tile almost matches. It's got some brownish color in it, so I'm trying to get the customer to do the contiguous curb top, the marble pieces that are one solid piece on top of the curb, and of course slope that in. They only really sell a travertine-ish type color and a white marble, and I don't know which one is going to match this. This has more gray in it than anything. Anyway, so if we can't do that, then we'll use a 16 by 16. We'll cut that off and put a bullnose probably on the outside or something like that. But ideally I would like the solid curb top. So that's what's going on here. As I said, this is a very ambitious project. It will take me a full 8 to 9 working days to make all this happen. This is day 1, and I'm getting ready to do the tear out. If there's any damage going on in here because of all this ceramic tile, then I will come back on and show that damage, just to let you know how crappy this tile really is and the reasons why it should never ever be used in the shower. I wouldn't use it even on this area, but in a shower, definitely no. Okay, basically haven't done a whole lot except take the shower doors out and start beating off all this tile. This is an interesting situation going on here. A lot of things that I did not expect, and a lot of things that I did expect. As I said earlier, this is the outside of the knee wall, and the knee wall has obviously retained some moisture because all of this is corner bead that wraps around this corner here on the inside, and it is just completely rusted out. So much so that this sheetrock and stuff that's in here just dry as a bone from being wet and then dry and then wet and dry again. I'm seeing the wood inside of here has some rust stains on it. I don't think the wood is going to be too rotted. I think the outside of the sheetrock and everything pretty much got the brunt of the damage. Had it been another couple years, then the wood started rotting too, but you can see the sheetrock and the paint and all of that stuff that's not even something I did, that's just the way that it's been. So obviously a lot of moisture here in the corner, as I expected there would be. and including on the curb. If you see here, again, corner bead being used on the corner of the sheetrock that the wall is built out of, and the corner bead is all rusted out. No reason that the corner bead should be rusted out. The rust goes all the way to the top, and it only stops over here because they didn't continue the corner bead. The top of here was kind of strange. There was like this mesh material. There was sheetrock. You can see on the top of the curb, there's actually gypsum sheetrock that got nailed down to it onto this fibrous type of mesh material, which kind of threw me for a loop because I've never seen this stuff before. It's obviously either a strengthener to strengthen the wall or strengthen the sheetrock, as it were, or it's some type of water barrier. But it didn't work. You can see they put nails right through it, and of course water penetrated into the nail heads and penetrated through, and you know, sheetrock is damaged. This is, I think, in the corner area, so you see where all the water used to be going through. You see how small, and this is why I harp on not using non-sanded grout. This is a very, very thin area when they push the grout in from the outside, right? So it looks like it's, wow, I got a pretty thick tile here, but you really don't. This is called a mud cap. So when they push the grout in, they didn't push it in all the way, and of course, even if they did, it's still crap, but they pushed it about halfway. So you get about an eighth thickness of this powdered grout, which is why I don't like it in the shower. So it kind of gives you an idea, reverse looking in, and that's kind of cool that I'm able to get that off all in one piece to show you that. But this is where it gets really interesting. One of the things I did not expect is that they actually set the tile on the outside of the curb. In other words, I expected whatever wallboard they use, and in this case they used gypsum, which is stupid. They used wallboard for the curb. So you see these little rounded edges here. This was on the inside of the curb like this, with gypsum right behind it. And so, you know, gypsum has just crumbled apart because, of course, it got saturated with water. But what I would expect is if they brought the tile up to this point and then actually started setting the wallboard. I'm sorry, let me back up. Before the tile got put in, they put the wallboard inside here, poured the pan with the wallboard embedded in it. That's what I normally see builders do. To my surprise, they didn't do that. However, they left a huge gap. This is your shower pan material, right? So they left a huge gap right here, a trough, if you will, so that when the tile set right on top of the trough, water gets through the bottom of here and can saturate your pan, which is idiotic. In addition to seeping up, weeping up, if you will, through this material here that they use for the wallboard. Anyway, getting back to the curb area, as I said in the corner, before I even did the tear out, I already knew there would be damage over here. So I'm a little surprised by a couple of things. One is that they actually wrapped the entire curb, it looks like. So they did wrap the curb. However, they used quite a few nails, perforated the curb a lot of times. And of course, that's not the big deal. The big deal is that they didn't butter it the way that I do. I butter the whole curb when I'm finished with it. Even if I do perforate the pan liner, then I butter the whole thing with thin set, and then I red guard it at least 2 or 3 times, so that if water even got into through the grout line and all that stuff, that the water would just set on top of that red guard. It would never penetrate into all this area that you see here. So the worst case scenario is that it would just dissipate out through the grout lines the same way it came in with the red guard. Here they didn't do any type of waterproofing. However, there is some type of membrane, and I've never seen this before, ever. It's a very, very thin membrane of some sort. It's a fibrous material, same as the top of that knee wall was. It's interesting. It's almost like this was meant to be some type of waterproofer. I'm not really sure what the material is. If anybody out there knows what it is, I'd be interested in knowing. But basically it sat just like so, right? So it sat on top of the curb. The liner, actually, what you had was you had the gypsum So the gypsum set on top of the curb, and then this material set on top of the gypsum. So bad idea to use gypsum on a curb. You see how it rusted out, and this gypsum is no good. Very, very easy to take out because it's so rotted. I can do it with one hand. One hand, literally. Look at that. So this material, which I'm really curious about, is very flexible and it snaps. It's almost like a fiberglass material or something. I'm not really sure what it is, but they use that, some type of barrier, to ensure that I guess the curb wouldn't get damaged, but then of course it's negated by all the mistakes that they made. Anyway, so it's a mess. It looks like this might have been a waterproofer here. I'm not sure if this is the same material. I don't think it is. Could be though. This is a gray material. It looks like it was put. Oh, you know what this might be? This might be dense guard. So there's a gypsum board out there called dense guard, which has a water barrier, kind of like red guard, already on the top and the back, or the front and the back rather. And so I think what this might have been is dense guard. Anyway, it didn't work. It didn't work for a lot of reasons, that they nailed right through it. And of course the nails are rusted out. Look at that, you got a quarter of a nail left. I didn't even pull that out with a hammer, I just did that with my fingers. So you see how bad the rust was. This is horrible. Just a crappy builder's grade type job. It's funny how sometimes I come on these tear outs and they do so many things right, but then they come behind it and do many things wrong. As I said, not sloping the curb, not red guarding or waterproofing the curb before you set the tile on, but yet they wrap the entire curb. They use some type of waterproofing membrane, and all that was negated by all the nails. And look at this, just rusted out nail, like it's not even a nail left, it's just all nasty. So I do quite a bit of these tear outs where a lot of things were done so well that I'm surprised, and then it's just negated by how many mistakes they made afterward, which caused all this damage. And there you go. Okay, I'm at a point where I have managed to finally get the curb out. Well, I got the walls out too. That really doesn't take a long time. Anyway, when I got the curb out, as I told you that I anticipated in the very beginning, there would be a lot of wood rot, which there is. This knee wall isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Usually it's rotted around the top because of all that tile. When the water from the shower heads raining down on it, you get a lot of damage there. Although there is a little black mold growing, and that's growing because, again, you know, they set their wall board 2 times thick, and then the tile. So the tile overlapped the tile, but there are 2 pieces of wall board stuck inside where the water pools, which caused this black mold. And it caused this damage on these 2x4s on the outside. Almost always, when I take out showers, you're going to see damage, wood rot on the curb in the corners. That's where water likes to get into the most. It's got a vertical and a horizontal to get through, as opposed to one or the other. So a little bit of wood rot down here. This is actually the bottom part of the curb. So this is that right side I just showed you, and you saw, or you see, a lot of damage going on here. The wood is starting to get really light, which means that it's starting to get really rotten. So that's the right side. This long piece is the left side, and you can see where it stopped at, and it just water pooled at the bottom and worked its way up. Eventually it would get to that top board as well, but that's pretty bad for this house being as young as it is. These guys shouldn't be doing a renovation unless they wanted to, rather than have to. After 10-12 years, the shower should last much longer than that, but obviously it never would. So anyway, I don't think the wood damage is that awful. Depends on this plywood thickness. If this is 1/2 inch ply, which sometimes, believe it or not, they put in here, then I'll probably take out some of that and replace it. But if it's 3/4 or 5/8 ply, then I think it's just surface level for right now. So that's it. Next step is to take out the shower pan, get rid of all this concrete and all that stuff, and start doing the rebuild process. Oh, by the way, interesting. That's exactly how I took it out. So I don't know how these new houses passed on inspection. You know, there's nothing, there's no 2x4 going across, there's no pipe clamps. I mean, you know, a 5-cent pipe clamp just on one side if you're going to be lazy about it, but at the very least, at the very most, you know, you put a 2x4 back there and you hold it down so you don't get that movement. That movement is apparent when your pipes start rattling. So, don't know that those did, but it's definitely not a good idea. Another oddity about this place. Okay, this bathroom is finally done. This is day 11. As a rule, most of the bathrooms I work on are 8 to 10 days. This took an extra day, a lot of stuff going on here, so I'm going to get started on telling you what I did. So I took out all the old tile, obviously, and put in this 18 by 18 porcelain tile with a transition strip right where the wood floor meets, and you know, it's nice and flush. And so we had this type of vanity before. All this is a new one, but it was the same basic footprint, meaning that this vanity and then a little drawer area. And same as this vanity over here, there was a vanity the same size. Actually, there was filler pieces on the side here, which we don't need anymore because I made this shower much bigger. If you recall, the shower was probably about up to here, came up to about maybe this spot here, angled off like that, and then came up to somewhere around here. It was a relatively small shower, which made no sense because almost always there's a closet in these bathrooms nowadays, so I like to take the shower all the way out to the edge of the closet. And then of course build it out as far as I can. We already knew there was going to be a 30-inch vanity, and there was supposed to be a 3-inch filler strip here and a 3-inch filler strip here. So rather than do that, I just built this wall out 6 more inches. But I got rid of that angle too, so I made it square. And because I made it square, it is now a nice 4.5 by about almost 4.5 foot shower, which is very large. But it took up no room from this area at all. This is still quite wide. You can see there's our 18-inch tile, so it's still good size. And of course, I always do the niche. I always trim out my niches with bullnose, and then they wanted this mosaic as their border, and so I wrapped that all the way around the side, and then of course trimmed out the whole thing with bullnose as well, which I used normally have 8-foot ceilings. With these vaulted ceilings, I just used that as a marker. So the top of my door jamb becomes my marker. I go all the way around and come down. So the other thing that happened here was, because we were doing such a large shower, it made no sense to have a shower on this head. I mean, the head on this side of the shower. So I actually replumbed everything up under the floor and put the new fixture on this wall, which allowed me to do the niche on this side. So those are some changes that happened. There's a mosaic, not a mosaic, but a 1x3 that goes on that's on a mat that they chose. That's a brick pattern that they chose for the floor. So this is a little busy for my taste, but you know, it looks okay. And then because we did that, I also staggered the wall tile, kind of match it up a little bit. Excuse me. They didn't have any matching contiguous curb tops. They basically come only in 2 flavors, so I just went ahead and used 3 of these larger tile for the curb top, had them bull-nosed on the front. And so that's it. Now on the shower, now the tub is a whole different issue. I didn't really sign up to do that. It was an afterthought, but the old jacuzzi tub came out. And in order to get the old tub out, I literally had to take this knee wall down, get rid of it, in order to get the old tub out, and then I had to cut it up to get it downstairs. Customer bought a new tub. The new tub is a little bit larger than the old tub, And so there was a lot of work involved in getting this plumbed in. And then also I didn't have enough room to actually get the new fixture on the tub itself. I needed a deck of some sort, so I actually had to make a 2x6. I had to pull all this decking, the face of this decking out, and redo this whole part here with 2x6s in order to facilitate the new fixture. They kind of wanted it on the side here, one of these sides, but it wasn't going to happen because of all the plumbing on the tub itself that's on the inside that you can't see. So I was almost forced to have to do this. And anyway, it turned out and became pretty much flush with both of the knee walls, which was kind of a unintentional consequence, and so that turned out pretty good. And then of course I kind of replicated a little bit of that border that we have up there on the face of here. And what else? Oh yeah, and then they had some extra of that, so I just added that into both of the knee walls on the inside. So it's a nice tub. It's you know, it's nothing different about the bathroom except everything is new. Of course, you know, new mold or kick plate and all that stuff. So, and then this is a closet, and so the tile just ended right there. So anyway, this bathroom is kind of interesting. This is a rather large bathroom. Let me step back. It's a rather large bathroom to begin with, so I had a little angle on this wall over here that went like this, and it was pretty deep and it had no purpose. And so the customer actually wanted a closet, a linen closet, which they don't have one in here. So, so I built this closet and put in these shelves. The shelf 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's 4 shelf boards that go all the way up to the ceiling, and including the bottom there. And of course I tiled that and put baseboard in too. And just basically just cut the hole out of the wall and just walled off this back area, which shortened the bathroom a little bit, but it's not really a big deal because, you know, there's still enough room. So the closet was kind of interesting. There was really no place that I could have made it square because, you know, you see the ceiling up here doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling. So it was either that or follow this wall out and square it off, which I did not want to do because that would have entailed a lot more work. So it was easier just to go through this wall here and use the excess room or the toilet closet for a closet. And then, of course, trying to find a 24-inch door was a little difficult, and I found one of these little cool latches. It's a little ball latch, and so that worked out pretty well. Other than that, this job is finished, and I am on to do some more work somewhere else. And this has been a little challenging. It's been interesting because of the challenge. Usually they're kind of cookie cutter type jobs that I go on. This one offered quite a few challenges, so I'm glad they're done, and I'm off to work somewhere else.